Well, good morning. Good morning to that. Now, in case you're wondering why there are butterflies to go with our Alleluia this morning, and pink and white and blue and an arch that made an entrance for you, yesterday was the Transgender Day of Remembrance service that we were fortunate enough and privileged to host here in this room. So we have parts and pieces. It's a day that remembers people who've been killed due to anti-trans violence in the last year. So we remember that, and we also celebrate the lives of people who are very much yet alive. We have sung our way into our time together with this very ancient expression of praise and gratitude. Alleluia. That's what that means. It's an expression of praise. So may that singing still ringing within us call to mind and heart, and in fact, to our entire body, a sense of the generosity and the goodness of life, of this extraordinary earth, of other people, of each other. I invite us to, in a moment, rise and look around and to extend that generosity through our eyes, through our voice to the people around us, especially those we don't know yet, or don't know well yet. I invite you to greet each other. So just then there was not only a verbal whoa, there was actually a rise in people's bodies. It went whoa. So newly aware of each other, it feels different, doesn't it now? After you have a connection with people around you, newly aware of each other, we turn our awareness to this land on which we meet. We place a small basket of black oak acorns on our altar in acknowledgement of the indigenous people of this area, the Nisenan, who never ceded, who never yielded their land, and yet it was taken. We place this basket of acorns on our altar also to invite us to commit to attend to the many generations worth of wounds and to invest in whatever threads of healing and wholeness and right relationship might be within reach. So I invite that commitment on our part together, but on your part as an individual as well. And with that, the lighting of our chalice. Hi.
Whoa, wait.
I think
I feel.
I just wanna. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, hold on.
You think?
Uh-huh. You feel?
Oh, yes.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful representation of all that Unitarian Universalist tradition represents. It's a living symbol of the many sources of wisdom from which we draw and guide us in our individual and collective journeys.
I feel it connects us to each other in love and care, and connects us to other UUs across time and across space, and reminds us to reach out to all who are hurting.
Can I light it now?
I think I want to feel.
I feel I want to do.
I do want to think.
Well, I think I want to do.
Well, I feel I want to think.
I do also want to feel.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh,
Nice.
And with that, we'd love to sing our youngest people on their way to Kids Connection, which they get to do and the rest of us don't. .4-H. I was in 4-H when I was young. Was anybody else in 4-H? Yeah, tell me some of your projects. What areas were you working in? Cooking, sewing, gardening.
Sewing and woodwork and goats.
Sewing and woodwork and goats. Shooting off model rockets.
Sewing horses, sheep, marine biology, photography.
So what was the first one? Sewing horses, sheep, marine biology, photography, lots more. Yeah, true for a bunch of us. Well, when I first started in 4-H, I think I was 10 or 11 or so, I started with raising sheep. That is me in the front. This is a newspaper photo, and it's from a little bit older than that. So at that time, if you wanted to know anything about enterotoxemia in sheep, I was your guy. If you wanted to know how to tan a sheep hide, I was your guy. If your ewe was having difficulty lambing, giving birth, I was your guy to help with those difficult lambing positions. I could have helped you, but apparently there was no help for my hair. But also, like others, we did many crafty sort of things. This is a flour and salt dough that you make and shape and then bake and then shellac. So a whole bunch of my family members made wreaths like this for Christmas gifts. We did many kinds of things. This was a corn husk doll nativity scene I made. It's a little fuzzy, but the manger is milkweed pod. Those are actual little pieces of sheep wool from my sheep. The star is made out of wheat straw, actually, and the shed made out of cattail reeds. Now, the ribbon on top is actually from my brother's case that he made, the wood and glass case from the fair. So we did all kinds of arts and craftsy things, but we also did things like small engine repair, stained glass, cooking, music, photography, and not just taking the pictures, but developing the film and doing the darkroom work. This is one of my favorites when I was about 14. I call it Find the Kitten in the Grass. Takes a moment sometimes. And in my life, I was pretty much a rule follower. I stayed within the lines in a lot of ways, but there were certain ways in which I just really broke the rules. And so I was the first boy in our region to enter sewing in 4-H. And I wish I could show you a picture of that green double knit leisure suit that I made with a wild like a rayon shirt. I couldn't find a picture of that. But by high school, I had made my tuxedo prom. I mean, my prom for the tuxedo. and even did things like clowning, which I keep saying is profound, and one of these days I'll talk about that. Now, some of you know what the 4-H's are for. They stand for head, heart, hands, and health. And there's a pledge that goes with this. If you know it, feel free to say it with me. I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. Pretty much as it was written in 1927. And world was added later. And when I think about this from a UU values perspective, I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. That is a pretty darn good pledge, isn't it? That's a darn good promise, a covenant that we made. And what I love about this is it's meant to apply no matter what we were working with or learning, whether it was marine biology or goats or cooking or photography or sheep. This was supposed to be underneath it, this larger kind of promise. And may all of our pledges, all of our promises be that grounded, I suggest, in all our endeavors.
Well, this service is well on its way already, and now I get to slip in and formally welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist community of the mountains. Those in this room, and those of you on Zoom, you can all wave to our Zoomers, and those watching us live via the YouTube channel at a later date. And I will reiterate, for those of you watching, those strange flecky things going there that look a little like bats are actually butterflies, representing a metamorphosis, which everyone goes through, and particularly our trans special friends. So just wanted to make sure you understood that. The service last night was really, really, really lovely. So all of you, no matter how you're viewing this, welcome, welcome. And in case you don't know, I'm Gail Johnson-Vaughan. I am your worship associate for this month, where we're exploring what it means to be a people of generosity. That transformative quality which opens so many doors of understanding, meaning, non-judgment. And not only does generosity transform, it connects us and it challenges us. Our chalice lighters this morning demonstrated the primary ways in which we take in the world, process our experiences, and make decisions. We use that combination of instinct, feeling, thinking, and yes, most of us tend to over rely on one of those areas or another. So whichever of those three are your go-to style, you are welcome here. However you came to be with us this morning, whether it's part of your regular Sunday morning ritual, or dropping in occasionally, or joining us after being gone for a long time, you are very welcome here. And if this is your very first time, an even more special welcome. You know, we're alike in many ways, and we're actually different in even more. We're a colorful group. Skin tones, eyes, hair colors, height, breadth, heritage, history, theology. So many ways that we're different. And in all ways, each of us is welcome. No matter how we carry the weight of the world, which is so heavy these days, or how we feel the joy of our hearts, each of us is welcome here. No matter who you love or what pronouns you use, how you pray or don't pray, each of us, you and you and you and you, are welcome here. I'm so glad you came.
The Anatomy of Peace, formerly titled How to Live with My Body by John Rodell. My brain and my heart divorced a decade ago over who was to blame about how big of a mess I have become. Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other. Now, my head and heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week, and my heart gets me on weekends. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week. And the notes that they send to one another always say the same thing. This is all your fault. On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down in the past. And on Wednesdays, my head lists all of the times my heart has screwed things up for me in the future. They blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So, lately, I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist. Most nights, I sneak out of the window of my rib cage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair that's always open for me. And I just sit until the sun comes up. Last evening, my gut asked me if I was having a hard time being caught between my heart and my head. I nodded. I said I didn't know if I could live with either of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that happened yesterday, while my head is always worried about something that may happen tomorrow, I lamented. My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with my mistakes of the past or my anxiety about the future, I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should go stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you are exhausted about your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focus on the uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There is no tomorrow there either. There is only now. There is only inhale. There is only exhale. There is only this moment. There is only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and head work their relationship out. This morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves, and while my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed a little bag and walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile, and as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?"
Yes, what would your lower intestine do? Gail's going to pass around some objects put together. They will partly resonate. As you'll see, there's a gelatin heart. There's a rubber brain. A little piece of textured wood, especially if you're a tactile person, and these are helpful things to have in your hands this morning. I'll also be inviting you to take them home and work with them. But while that's happening, let's start with our breathing. Let's meet in the lungs, shall we? So in the way that works for you, if it's comfortable for you to attend to your breathing, if it's not comfortable, maybe for you, it's better to let your hands open and close with the rhythm of your breathing, or both. I invite you to notice your lungs for a moment. The lungs that find a place between heart and gut, between heart and head. We'll link all of it. What does your breathing feel like this morning, in this moment? Enneagram insight around the world teaches that we each draw on 3 ways of knowing, 3 ways of processing information, 3 centers of intelligence, they call them. Intuiting, feeling, thinking, associated with the gut, with the heart, with the head, respectively. And of course, we each draw on all 3 of those all the time. But most people, most of us, rely on 1 or 2 of those 3 most of the time. And the third one tends to be underutilized, and therefore underdeveloped. The goal is to learn to draw on all 3 as needed. Enneagram teachings also claim that each center of intelligence, intuiting and feeling and thinking, is associated with the group of 3 of those 9 personality types. They're grouped together. So to look at this, I'm going to draw very heavily today on Riso and Hudson's book, The Wisdom of the Enneagram today. And that's the teachers I've been learning from are very much steeped in that path of that learning. So, for example, 8, 9s, and 1s, some of you will know what that means. 8, 9s, and 1s are one of those groups of 3. And this is the instinctive or belly-centered group. 8s, 9s, and 1s. And we'll begin there with this most ancient of human qualities, that gut instinct quality. So gut instincts are about survival, right? There are root instincts, the things that keep us alive. And they're some of the most powerful energies we work with, those gut instincts. And they kick into gear before we figure out how we feel. They kick into gear before we think about what we're doing, right? That's the whole idea. They're there, ready to help protect us. They are centered in our body and low in our body. And they allow us to survive by putting up some boundaries, right, between us and everything that's not us. It's meant to keep us safe, right? Where do we need to put the boundaries to keep us safe? What's me? What's not me? And again, our instincts don't wait for our head and our hearts to sort things out. They're all about setting boundaries for our safety. So when we're fully in our body, our instincts then give us a sense of safety and stability and independence. You can feel that, right? that kind of low center of gravity. But the 8 and the 9 and the 1 personalities, they each have formed a distortion around the instincts, right? Rooted in the body, instincts work with the here and now, right? It's what's present, what's going on right now. That's what the instincts are concerned with. But 8s, 9s, and 1s put up boundaries to not be too affected by reality, right? We don't want to be too affected by reality. It might be upsetting. So first, let's see what's going on in our own bellies and get grounded there. I invite you, if it works for you, to put your hands there, about 3 fingers below your navel. It's low. It's that low gut. That's what would your lower intestine do piece, right? And just for a moment, notice what you feel there. Is it hard, soft, tight, relaxed, warm, cool, still, gurgling? Is it spicy? What does that feel like for you? Yeah, so now you know where it is at the moment, perhaps. The 8ness in us, the challenger, wants to put up boundaries against anything that's out there so that nothing will get too close and nothing will hurt us. So there's a piece of us that does that, protects ourselves from the outside. The 1ness in us, the reformer, the perfectionist, the moralist, puts up boundaries aimed at the inside to keep our inner impulses held in, right? Because they might be too much. They might get out of control if we let them happen. So 8s press outward, 1s push our impulses inward, those bodily instincts. And the 9s, the peacemakers, the center of those 3 types, it uses energies both to hold the outside at bay and to hold the inside at bay, which leaves a no person's land in the middle, where it's all calm, right? Where nothing's gonna get in there to disturb us, right? We're pushing hard both ways, hold in and to hold out, so we can have a calm space and nothing will disturb us, disturb our peace. So Stephanie Spencer associates these belly or these gut aspects of ourselves with the element of earth. 8's like rock, solid, hard in a way that keeps things out. 1's like clay, molding, not wanting to be cracked, clay that forms and hardens and helps hold things in. And 9's like soil, soft, holding lots of parts and pieces, but difficult to take shape, right? And underneath it all, because each of these aspects of us is resisting reality, right? We don't want reality to affect us. And we tend to have trouble, those of us who are focused in 8, 9, and 1, we tend to have trouble with aggression. Think of your minister, right? Trouble with aggression. You don't see it, right? You don't get to see that. It tends to surface as anger or rage, which is the perfectly natural reaction to having to suppress ourselves all the time. Anger is the perfectly natural thing to suppress and holding out. Anger is a boundary-setting emotion, right? Anger is that emotion that helps us set boundaries. In our 8ness, we tend to act out our anger. In our 1ness, we tend to suppress our anger. In our 9ness, what anger? I don't have any anger. I've got this peaceful no man's land because I'm holding everything out. It's all peaceful in here until it isn't. And then watch out. Our Protestant Calvinist origins in our universalism and our Unitarianism did not do much to support listening to the wisdom of our bodily instincts. Right? We have been, based on those early roots of ours, over the centuries more likely to repress or deny our bodily instincts, to rarely occupy our bodies with full vitality, to be too often God's frozen people. A number of denominations use this, right? Protestant denominations, God's frozen people, we're going to sit still, right? Which is one of the reasons I've been inviting more attentiveness to the sensations in our body. and why we try to incorporate physical rituals in our services so we can start to bring more of the body in. It's an important and necessary aspect of every spiritual and emotional journey, right? This belly-centered knowing, this gut-centered knowing. Our Universalist heritage, however, did pass on to us a strong valuing of the heart. I invite you to put your hands over your heart this time. What do you feel inside there? Is it hard, soft, full, empty, warm, cold, stirring, or still, angular, round? Just in your physical body, around your heart, what do you sense? What do you notice? Maybe it's nothing, or maybe it's a lot. I'm going to invite you to keep your hand over your hearts and to rise and sing. It's a little bit of when our heart is in a holy place. It will feel quite different with your voice resonating in your hands. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as you're willing, and to sing. Thank you. Music is one of those heart-reaching arts, right? Thank you, Kate and Randy and Toby. It can be overwhelming to be fully in our hearts. Some of you have explained this to me. The world becomes overwhelming, right, if you open up your hearts and let it all in. And so what we tend to do to protect ourselves is to have some substitutes for all that feeling, to settle for other kinds of responses. So our instincts have to do with establishing boundaries. Our feelings have to do with establishing our identity. Who are we? It's our sense of connection to others, our attunement, our belonging. Our affiliation is another way to think about it. The heart's about affiliation. The two, the three, the fourness in us are focused on the heart-centered qualities of being loved, feeling loved and valued, and knowing who we are. The two, the three, the fourness in us tries to make up for a lack of heart-centered connection and a lack of feeling valued early in life by developing another identity, a kind of a false identity, an image that we put out into the world to use to try to attract substitutes for that unconditional love and valuing that we really want. So we put it out there so someone's going to like it and like us, right? Over time, we become really identified with that us we put out there, that personality, that image of ourselves that we've put out there, this false identity, as if that's who we are, because at least it gets us something, right? And that's better than maybe letting go of it and maybe having nothing. Right? But it doesn't get us what we really need because people aren't responding to who we really are. They're responding to what we've put out there. The type threes in this group, or the three types in this group, take three different paths on this quest of trying to find self or project a self out in the world. The two-ness in us, the helper, faces outward, has us going out to please others so that they will like us, has us looking for value in the good regard that others have for us. And so it makes it challenging to know our own feelings, right? We're busy putting out the thing that we think will get us reactions that give us some semblance of the feelings we're looking for. The fourness in us, the individualist, has us looking inward, has us building an elaborate story about ourselves, a rich inside image based on our feelings and our fantasies and the stories from the past, attaching all kinds of significance to the characteristics we think are ours. So we build a big story inside, and no one can really know what it's like to be me. I'm different from everybody else. I'm more likely to stoke a mood that I can grab onto rather than actually feel the real feelings that might come up in relationships. The threeness in us, the achiever, the middle of the group, focuses energy, guess what? Both outward and inward. Has us out there achieving things and becoming outstanding so that people will admire and affirm us, but also creating a strong story inside of who we are, a story that we can hold on to no matter what. So we've got both of those. Twos are rescuers, right? Reaching out to rescue. Fours are rescuees. And threes don't need rescuing, thank you very much. Stephanie Spencer associates the feeling types with the element of water. Makes perfect sense. Twos like the river, continual searching flow, a moving and nurturing kind of presence. Threes like waves, dynamic and always reaching and moving forward. And fours like icebergs, so much beneath the surface, a deep presence that's not afraid of floating in the cold darkness. In fact, kind of knows that as home. At heart, all the feeling types struggle with feeling valueless, not feeling like they have value, struggle with feeling self-love. And their ways of being are the personality's attempt to disguise that painful perception that I might not have value from ourselves and from others, right? It's meant to be protective. If I really felt that, it would be too much. I'm going to protect myself from that and create an image. So the two, the threeness, and the fourness in us is trying to manage, underneath all of that, a feeling of shame. Feelings from early in life that something is wrong with us, that we're in some way not enough. The two-ness in us becomes ultra good, super caring and helpful in order to avoid that feeling of shame. The threeness in us tries to become perfect in performance and in our image and outstanding in the world in order to avoid feeling shame. And the fourness in us avoids feeling shame by building up a whole story about all the losses and hurts we've experienced and by seeing ourselves as victims. That's one way to protect ourselves from the shame we might feel if we tapped into it. Again, not the real us, but the story we took on somehow in our life. Our universalist heritage tries again and again and again to counter that heart triad's off the mark attempt to get what we really want and need. God is love, they said, period. That's it. God is love. In their words and in their actions, they tried to counter the religious messages that said humans are inherently flawed and broken from the beginning. They had the counter message. It's all love. The universalist message is that love is everything. Our natural state, in fact. Love is who we are in the beginning, even before we're born. Love is who we are throughout our lives. Love is who we will always be. That's our natural state, they taught. So once more, I invite you to check in with your heart. What are you feeling there in this moment? The joys and the sorrows each week are one way to tap into this, into what's there, into the feelings that stir. I invite you to notice what's there today. Who's there today? I invite those of you who wish to come take a stone from the table up front here, put it in the bowl of water. If you're online, I invite you to type into the chat some of what you carry if you so choose. And I invite us to stay heart-centered as people come forward. Centered in your own heart, but also aware that there are a whole bunch of other hearts in the room and online this morning. Finally, we have our heads. Third for a reason, our thinking.
What was I gonna do? Yeah. Monkey mind. Monkey. That's a weird thing to call it, monkey mind. Like, I wonder if there's other animal minds that humans relate to, like we do with monkey mind, like elephant mind, butterfly mind. Squirrel mind. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Just like monkey mind. Squirrel mind, monkey mind. Squirrel and monkey sitting in a tree. Wait. Can you imagine? Well, what if I was a squirrel that was afraid of heights? That is a weird thought. Weird is a weird word. Weird. I wonder if other languages have words for weird that are weird, like our word for weird is weird. Speaking of weird, did I take my meds? I don't know, but I have a headache. Maybe I need a Tylenol. Tylenol or ibuprofen? Wait, what's the difference? I know there is one. I just can't remember what it is. Probably because I've got too much of my bandwidth trying to focus on remembering what sitcom that song has been playing in my head on repeat all week is from. Seriously, what show is that from? It's killing me. Oh, I wonder when Bridgerton is coming back on. TV is so much better now than it was back then. Well, less cringy for sure. Certainly there's more choices, but those old songs and the ads, so catchy, relentless even. What was that stupid one that's been on my repeat on my poor brain lately? Oh yeah. Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pounder, French fries, icy Coke, thick shake, sundaes, and apple pies. Oh, pies. Shoot, I gotta get those pies baked. Do apple or pumpkin? Definitely something cinnamon. I love cinnamon. Do I still have time to defrost a turkey? What day is it? Maybe I should just do salmon. He did say he was turkey agnostic. What does that even mean? Turkey agnostic? Seriously, what did I come in here for?
Thanks to Beth and to those of you who sent in your genuine monkey mind thoughts. I heard the laughter of familiarity, right? The monkey mind, the squirrel mind. The belly is rejecting the present, right? The belly types are rejecting the present, and the heart types are oriented in the past, where we pick up parts and pieces to craft our identity. The head types, 5, 6, and 7, are concerned with the future. They're concerned with the future. This makes sense, right? Our heads can do abstract things. We don't have to stay in the moment, in the present, right? We can actually envision into another time, another place, another way. The head triad questions tend to be along the lines of, get back in my place here, tend to be along the lines of how can I be prepared, right? It's future oriented. How can I be prepared? How can I keep bad things from happening? How can I be ready to cope? And what the head types lose touch with is the quiet, spacious, calm mind. The mind that is the source of our inner guidance, right? When we can get there, right? Without all the chatter, then we can hear the inner guidance. As Belinda Gore points out, the spacious mind is about trusting what we cannot see. Trusting what we cannot see. When we can't hold that trust, when we can't access that inner guidance because we're too busy here, then our response to that is to be afraid and anxious because we're not preparing for the future, right? So we get fearful and anxious. And each of the head types responds to that fear differently. The fiveness in us, the investigator, retreats from life into the safety of the mind where you can live a beautiful life. I know this. Live a beautiful life in here, where we can stockpile, maybe even hoard all the knowledge and ideas and facts and figures that will one day maybe be enough to help us feel safe, help us survive, allow us to meet the demands of everyday life. The sevenness in us, the enthusiast, charges into life, into adventure, fun-loving, seemingly afraid of nothing, willing to try everything. This is that fun person that always wants to be doing something out there and new. But though not afraid of anything in the outer world, the sevenness in us is afraid of the pain and the grief and the anxiety that waits inside if we were to slow down enough to actually feel it, because it might be overwhelming. So we're going to keep busy so we don't feel what's inside. The sixness in us, the loyalist, the center of this triad, focuses energy both inward and outward. Again, the inner anxiousness and the fear launches us out into action in the world, right? To go do all those things. But once we get out there, we're like, oh, this feels a little bit too much. Maybe I better pull back into the mind where it's safer. I know I can control things. And that cycle just goes on and on. The sixness in us looks for outside guidance, right? For some source of guidance to manage this journey, not trusting the inner guidance. The fiveness in us is convinced that guidance and support are just not available or reliable, so we're going to go it alone. And the sevenness in us will try anything and everything to see if we might be able to feel more secure and safe. Stephanie Spencer associates the thinking types with the element of air. Fives like wind hovering above everything else to get a view and an understanding. Sixes like clouds, hardworking and anxious at the same time, and able to regulate the systems around them. And sevens like rainbows, bright and optimistically many-colored and forever reaching. Our Unitarian heritage epitomizes the head types, rooted in understandings and experiences of religion that made intellectual sense and allowed intellectual integrity, freedom of the mind, freedom of belief for oneself and for everyone else. So the goal, of course, is to integrate all three of these, right? To be able to draw on all of them healthily and well. Again, as with our parent traditions, we need all of them, and we actually do use all of them, but we tend to rely on one or two of them and sort of underutilize a third, leaving it underdeveloped. So I wonder if you were just to think for yourself for a moment, just imagine what your order might be. Gut, head, heart. Which ones do you rely on most, kind of automatically? It's just your go-to. You don't even have to prepare for it. That's where you go. And which one doesn't maybe get drawn on so often as you think about your behaviors, your life? I have a pattern I've discovered when it comes to making a big decision. I get all the facts and figures, and I build my lists of pros and cons, right? And if I were just there, I would figure out what the weight was, and I'd have my decision. But no, I have to add my heart sense to it. How do I feel about it? How does it feel if I think this way? How does it feel if I imagine this way? How is this going to affect other people? And then I do nothing. I procrastinate. I wait and wait and wait until I can't wait any longer, right? Until I'm forced to make a decision. And then what do? I try to pull up the list and I try to pull up the heart and I go, ah! And I just throw myself at it. In other words, I make an instinctual decision. I make a gut decision. All this work, the actual decisions made this way, right? It took me a while to understand that I actually am drawing on that gut when I most need it, but I don't remember that. And so much of my life, I've ignored it. I've so often had a very strong sense of something, but the facts and the figures, the people around me, what my head said, my heart said, didn't match it. So I said, I must have it wrong. And then did not honor it. And then later I go, dang it, that was right. That instinct was right. So the thing is, although 8, 9, and 1 are in the belly triad, the intuiting triad, and 2, 3, and 4 are in the heart triad, the feeling triad, and 5, 6, and 7 are in the head triad, it doesn't mean that those things are our strong intelligence center. In fact, if it's a place we overuse or underuse, it's the place we're most stuck, where we have the least freedom, right? Because we're just automatically using it, or we're not using it at all. So for those who are tuning into such things and looking for some places to put your energy toward your own authenticity and your own wholeness, the Enneagram Insight suggests that 8, 3s, and 7s, if you know who you are, underuse the heart. 1s, 2s, and 6s underuse the head. And 9, 4s, and 5s underuse the belly, the gut. That's what I was saying. I underuse my gut, even though I'm in that triad, right? Where it's supposed to be my center. I've just forgotten that and not used it. So, one last time, a body check. Let's check your gut. I invite you to have one hand on that low gut and one hand on your heart. Aware that the lungs are bridging the two. They're not so isolated. Your breathing in and out continually is linking those two. I invite you to leave a hand on the heart and take the other hand to the forehead. Breathing is connecting these as well, right? The air coming in your mouth or nose, down into the lungs in your heart area. They're actually all connected. So whether you tune into such things or not, here's an invitation to listen to your life. To listen to your life and your ways of being and your body. To tune in to your gut, to your heart, to your head, especially if one of those seems underused so far in you. So we had these tangible reminders to send home with you, thanks to Gail. That flexible heart, that gelatin heart, that rubber brain. The piece of paper, we had talked about the possibility of having you put a pencil on there without looking and moving your hand and seeing what comes up without trying. So I invite you to do that at home, that little wooden looking piece. Put a writing tip on there without looking at it. Just doodle for a moment and see what comes up when you do it. What I invite you to do is put these somewhere where you'll see them and remind you, oh, I might want to pay attention to that. You might even arrange them in the order of how you use them for a time. And say, what do I want to adjust, perhaps, in that? Maybe it goes on your altar. I invite you to give some attention to that, particularly as you prepare to spend time with family and or friends and or frenemies over the holidays. As you navigate the realities of the world, like Israel and Gaza, what are you drawing on? As you search for your most authentic and real you. May we each be so.
Each week here at UUCM, we offer opportunities for generosity. It's good to remind ourselves, from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it's through our pledges that we build our budget and pay our bills and fund our programs and pay our staff and keep our building warm and comfortable. And we know that we could easily drop a check for our pledge in any time that's convenient, any time. But we pass the plate during our services, our worship services, to make a community expression of thanks for all that blesses us, for our abundance in whichever way it appears in our lives, to visibly bring in the harvest at this most cherished hour of our week. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday mornings. And as most of you know, each week we give 25% of our offering to a nonprofit community partner that acts and reflects on our values. This month, that partner is Bright Futures for Youth, whose mission is to ignite the potential of youth today for vibrant communities tomorrow. Their vision is that each young people has hope, opportunity, and a capacity to succeed. Some of you may want 100% of your offering to go to them. In that case, you'll put it in the white envelope in the basket as it passes around you. Your giving helps us sustain all that we treasure here in this community. Thank you for your generosity. The following slide will tell you other ways to give. Thank you for that generous music and all of your gifts today. We dedicate these gifts to the abundant flow of generosity in all its manifestations. May it enrich the lives of you, the givers, and of the receivers.
That was Toby's arrangement of What Wondrous Love Is This, just for this occasion. Thank you, and thanks for the beautiful playing. Yeah. So normally we thank the whole slew of folks, and we do. We thank the whole slew of folks, but this morning in particular, we want to thank Eileen Hale and company, who's on Zoom week after week after week after week. She comes early to help make sure the sound is going to come through okay, and then she attends well to the people who are on Zoom, making sure they have the information they need, that they feel welcome. Eileen, thank you so much for doing this week after week after week. So, having just collected the offering with the white envelopes, I'm going to tell you the board's about to propose a change to that. So I just want to let members and friends know to watch your email tomorrow or the next day. The proposal is, starting in January, to do a test run of giving away 50% of the offering and getting rid of the white envelopes, actually, encouraging people to do more direct giving if they want to do that direct giving. And here's the thing. If everybody gave just as they do now, white envelopes, if you gave just the same amount, it'll come about the same. We give away about 47% of what we take in. So if we give away half, and it's on its way, my hope is, to ever increasing amounts of what we give away on a Sunday morning, if we can do that. So watch for that information. Annual Thanksgiving potluck here. Bring a food, bring yourself at 2 o'clock. Come join us. And there's a chance to sign up online. Don't let that stop you if you didn't get a chance and you find yourself on Thursday wanting to be here. UU 101 is a chance to find out a little bit more about this tradition and this community on Sunday, December 3rd after the service. And join us next Sunday for some freewheeling brainstorming about the upcoming theme of transformation. No obligation beyond it. Just come and have some fun and some free-form brainstorming. And when you go to the uugrassvalley.org website, did you know that if you look, you'll see a blue thing with access to the service. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see some top news, kind of the top news for the time. If you scroll down just a little bit more, you'll see the next 9 things happening at UUCM. So if you're trying to remember, when was that? What was the Zoom link? Where is it happening? You can just go right to these and click on these and I'll take you to those events. So if you haven't explored the website, there's an easy access right on the homepage. Thought you might want to know that. So I invite us to rise and sing together, Woyaya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, perhaps with the help of head, heart, and gut. you to settle into your breathing for a moment. Those lungs with the plush leather or plush couch. And invite us to remind each other that we're not alone, that we'll extinguish this flame, but we'll carry the warmth of whatever kind of connections we make here with us during the week. This community benediction that we share, these good words. Together, let us carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Have a happy Thanksgiving. If you're here, join us for refreshments in the back. See you on Zoom next Sunday. See everybody next Sunday for Who's at the Table, our Thanksgiving Sunday service.